Hello, my loves, and welcome to this episode of the Fuck Trauma podcast with me, Candice Tamara. So, today I felt called to talk about something that's a bit personal and not what a lot of people talk about, and what I don't see it anywhere talked about, but it is a huge problem in our community. And it's around, why do avoidants pull away after intimacy? Or why do they appear, people, whoever it is, that you are intimate with, why does it appear that they pull away after intimacy? And when I say intimacy, I am referring to physical intimacy, but it also can be emotional intimacy. It can be vulnerability. And then it appears that they pull back, they change. And I know the cycle so well. And not only do I know this cycle, I've broken this cycle. So it came to me that I wanted to share this perspective with you. And as ever, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to tell you what people are just telling you because it's what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear so that you can actually see this pattern, and it's way more empowered because you have way more control over it, of breaking it, than simply chasing after them or forcing them or sitting there in a heap of anxiety thinking that this keeps happening to you over and over and over again. And if you just pick better, then it won't happen again. But then it does happen. And so I'm not going to tell you the thing that keeps you in that cycle. I'm going to tell you the thing that actually breaks that cycle for you, because that is everything that I stand for, you know? And I know that sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy to be confronted with some of these things. It's a lot easier to just believe that people keep doing these things to you over and over again. And I get that. I was in that loop for a really long time. But I also know that there's a part of you that is here because they are ready to really radically take that self-responsibility to be able to change it for good, which is a far more empowering place to be. And even though it can be confronting, there's a beautiful feeling that will come over you of, oh my God, it's me. I'm creating this pattern, and that means I have all the power to change it, all of the power. And that is what I want you to know. So, where do I begin? Let me tell you about this cycle. Let me tell you how it kept showing up for me. So I would, start dating someone, start liking someone, and then, you know, there would be some vulnerability there. Whether it be I was physically intimate with them or I shared something very personal, there was that emotional vulnerability. And what kept happening is that beforehand, they'd be so freaking obsessed with me, so wanting me, so, clear, so there. It was the most beautiful feelings ever, like the spark, the chemistry, the constant texting, all of those things. And then as soon as that intimacy would happen, it was like different. It was like I wasn't as wanted as much, or they weren't as into me. They weren't as interested. They weren't making as much effort. And it just kept happening. It kept happening. And ultimately, what would happen is that a lot of the time, it would then end up being the thing that caused us to completely stop talking or stop dating, for instance, and or them to ghost me or not be ready for commitment or for it to go any further. And I used to be wondering, like, what the hell, like, what happened, what changed? I'd be an anxious mess, asking my friends constantly, what do you think happened here? Desperately trying to pick apart every single little thing. And I would be like, did they just want sex, or Did it scare them off? Was I too much? These were all the thoughts that I would be having and sharing with my friends. And then I'd convince myself that, like, yeah, maybe it is, maybe they weren't ready, maybe they were scared of their feelings, they just felt so much. That was the mind boggle that would happen over and over and over again in my mind. That would be it. It would happen. They would either, run away, or we would stop talking, or whatever would happen, and then it would happen again and again and again. And then I would be like, oh my God, they're avoidant. That makes sense. They're scared of their feelings. They're avoidant. Oh, they never were interested in commitment. I would do anything to feed the story of what was happening, because I couldn't believe this kept happening over and over again. Or if you're in a relationship, for instance, or you're with somebody and it doesn't fizzle out, it continues. But what you notice is that every time you have a very vulnerable conversation, or you're talking about a topic that's very uncomfortable, or maybe you're sharing your feelings or things like that, it happens then too. They will pull away, or it appears that they pull away, they pull back, and you're left thinking, what the fuck? Okay, so that is how it kept appearing to happen for me. Now, what was actually happening and what is actually happening for you is not that. What was actually happening for me was that I had subconscious beliefs. I had a subconscious story around people pull back. They lose interest once there's intimacy. They don't make enough effort after intimacy because they've got me then. They've got what they wanted. And then I had things around, it's not safe to be vulnerable. People take advantage of my weakness, and, I'm not chosen. I'm not worthy of them staying, or, after intimacy, the fun is gone, I'm just not as wanted as much. And really all that is coming from my self-concept beliefs of I'm not wanted, I'm not enough, love leaves me, love is unsafe, I'm not worthy of commitment. And that is what was really playing out. And I'm going to show you exactly how that plays out, right? So your subconscious beliefs are creating your reality. They're creating your experiences. And these people have no choice but to play your inner state out. They have no choice. People are just reflecting your inner state, your inner self-concept, your inner beliefs. And when you change it, it will change your experiences. But they have no choice but to reflect these beliefs back to you. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this coming up in the podcast. So you're going to understand it in a lot more detail so that you can really apply it to your life and change your life, because that's what I did. But for now, this is just to understand what's happening here. So what we don't realize is a lot of the time, because we don't have the belief that we're wanted, chosen, and prioritized, we will attach our worth to things that make us feel that feeling for a tiny amount of time that we're wanted. So for instance, in this case, it would be intimacy. Subconsciously, a lot of people with anxious attachment style, I've seen it with a lot of my clients, they have attached their worth to that intimacy. In that moment, they feel wanted and they feel chosen. And I get it. I felt wanted and chosen. And especially if you keep picking partners that appear to be more reserved, more, like an avoidant, for instance, where, let's be honest, the intimacy with an avoidant is so freaking amazing because there's not a lot of intimacy outside of that intimacy. And I'm talking about physical intimacy when I'm talking about this now. There is not a lot of intimacy outside of that physical intimacy. So the rush of having that physical intimacy is finally you're getting all of their attention. You feel chosen, wanted, and prioritized. And it's everything that you're desperately craving inside of you. So when the physical intimacy is over, you are desperately craving that high of feeling wanted and chosen. And that is when, your attachment starts to kick in, because you feel the loss of not having that. It's not even about the person. It's about the loss. Again, it's an abandonment wound. So it's the loss of like, oh my God, I'm not wanted and chosen anymore. I'm not high off that feeling anymore. They are the ones that give me that feeling. So I must chase them. I must do everything to keep them because I'm never going to feel wanted and chosen ever again. And that is what happens there. So your attachment style will kick in around vulnerability, so intimacy, sexual, physical intimacy, or if it's emotional, it can be emotional too. But that time is when you feel fully seen. So you feel very fucking vulnerable. Okay. And your attachment style has kicked in. That fear has now taken over. And what happens is, if we're going to use like the physical intimacy as a example here, is be really honest with yourself. Really be honest with yourself, because I know that this is what happens. You'll have physical intimacy with them, perhaps like the first time, and it feels fucking amazing because you are feeling wanted and chosen. And then, after that time, that feeling starts to go down. You're not feeling as wanted as chosen. You're desperately still wanting that connection with them if they're still with you in that after that physical phase. You're trying to have that connection. You're trying to do everything to keep that feeling of being wanted and chosen alive, and it feels so good. But the second they leave you, the second they leave your house or you leave theirs or whatever it is, that high goes and it changes into fear. You slip into a fearful state, and that's your attachment style, where you are now, even before anything has ever changed, they haven't said a word, not one word to you to suggest anything is different. You are now assuming that everything is different. Because you have now slipped into the fearful state. You have gone from, oh my God, they want me so much. I'm so wanted. I'm so chosen. They adore me. They have all these feelings. And suddenly now you start to have thoughts around, was I too much? Did I do it too soon? Are they gonna have as much interest in me? Are they gonna have as much effort? Are they all of those things, those fearful doubts start to slip in. And what happens is that you will start to look for that. So you start to notice, they haven't texted me, and they would have texted me by now. So that's the first clue. Your subconscious mind is now getting evidence of your story that people lose interest after you've been vulnerable or intimate, or, they don't want you so much. So that will be the first thing. Or you've noticed, they would have normally sent you a good morning message, even though you've left them in the morning, say, but they haven't sent you a message and it's been like an hour or two and you've left their house or whatever like that. It will start to look for those clues. But then you'll be like, no, it's okay. It's fine. I was just with them. So that's probably why they haven't done it, right? So you'll kind of be in the place right then when you're slipping into a more fearful state, but you're able to be a little bit more rational with it. But then the afternoon comes, for instance, and, they text you or they've responded to your text. Maybe you wrote to them to say, you're home safe or whatever. And then they've taken like an hour longer than they normally would. They're not as attentive as they were before the vulnerability happened, right? Before the intimacy happened. Before the intimacy, they might have texted you all the time. But before the intimacy, you weren't in this fearful state. Energetically, you were letting it flow to you. You weren't in this fearful state because your attachment style hadn't fully clicked in. So now you're in this fearful state, and what you focus on is what grows. So you are now focusing on, they've lost interest. That is the story. They're pulling away. They don't want me as much. But now they are, that hour message, before you might have been able to say, oh, that's fine. They're probably in the shower or doing something. But now every single thing is confirmation of your belief and your story and your assumptions that they don't want you anymore. You're not as valuable. You're not worthy now of their attention because they've got what they want. And you'll start to think like, you'll start to change your thoughts about them, like question it, right? And every time that is happening. But what is actually happening is that you are creating that. You are creating that distance because you are seeing it from the lens of your story. So instead of being neutral oh, they're in the shower, that's fine, they'll respond, of course they want me, you are now seeing it as, no, they're not as interested, they're not looking out for my message so much, they're busy, they're doing something else, they've lost interest, they don't want me so much, maybe they're talking to someone else. That is your new story. And with what you don't realize is you are creating that in every moment, because that is what you're deciding is your story. That is what you're assuming is happening based on your beliefs. Now, let me tell you, if you didn't have those beliefs, if you had the beliefs that like, my God, they want me more. They want me more when I'm intimate. It's so safe for me to be vulnerable. I am so secure in myself. I feel so good, right? You would leave there and you would see things very differently. First of all, you'd be like, well, of course, intimacy just deepens a relationship. They're just going to want me more. They're going to want to be around me more. They're going to feel closer to me. You're going to feel that, right? And so when you leave there, you're just going to be neutral. You're not going to think anything of it. You'll text them, yeah, I've got home safe. And if they don't text back for a while, it's fine. You don't care because you know your closeness is not threatened. You're not fearful anymore. You're actually like, oh, it doesn't matter. We've just spent all this time together. We've just done something really wonderful and intimate together. They're like, there's no threat there. They're not going to pull away. That is the difference that we don't realize. And so, that used to happen to me all the time. And if I was honest with myself, that's exactly the thought process, the feelings that were happening, the anxiety was building inside of me. And it's energy, it's fearful energy, and it has no choice but to manifest. You are creating it in that time. So, then you probably start to be like, is everything okay? Do you not want me as much? You haven't asked to see me. That's when those kind of patterns start to come out. You start to act from that fear. And when you act from that fear, you are cementing your identity of, I'm not worthy of people staying. People pull away from me after intimacy. I'm not even worthy of more effort after intimacy. I'm too much. It's not safe for me to be vulnerable. You are cementing yourself as that. And it's your identity that manifests. So you will just get that reflected back. So suddenly you will get things like, I just don't think I'm ready for a relationship. I really like you. That is just your I'm chosen belief playing out in the other person. Or, suddenly they'll just like start having less interest. Whatever it is, you'll start to feel less wanted. They won't make as much effort. They won't be planning to see you. That is just your beliefs playing out in real time. And that's exactly how you're creating it. And then suddenly they'll be gone and it will happen again with the next person. And you'll be like, they're avoidant. They're not avoidant. They're not avoidant. They are literally just reflecting your inner state. There is only you. It is only your inner state that can be reflected in this person and how they treat you. And it's not that they're avoidant. That is a story that is keeping you stuck in attracting more avoidance. Because if you keep believing you're going to keep attracting avoidance, everyone's avoidance, they're not. Let's be honest with yourself right now. When everything was good before that vulnerable time, before that intimacy happened, and they were so connected to you, felt so connected, you were not thinking for 1 second that they were avoidant, were you? Be really honest. But then as soon as that intimacy and that vulnerability happened, suddenly your fearful mind has started to look for reasons, look for clues because you're feeling all of these feelings. And now your story has, they're avoidant. That's why that happened. They weren't avoidant before. So be honest with yourself because it's you that change. It's not them that change. They are only reflecting your inner state where you've slipped into a fearful state, and that creates distance. It doesn't bring them closer. They were close before because you were close with yourself. Your thoughts were in alignment with that. They want me. They like me. I like them too. Great. So they were close. Of course, it's energy. But then as soon as you slipped into the fearful state of they don't want me, they're not going to want you anymore. I'm not chosen. That fearful state is energy and it creates the distance you don't want. You are desperately running after them, chasing after them. Please, please, please stay. When can we see you? I'll do that. Making it easy to see them. Maybe they're busy with work. Don't worry, I'll come to you. Whatever it is, you are energetically chasing them and they will keep running away from you because whatever you chase pulls away. And chasing doesn't always look like physically chasing them. It's literally just mentally chasing them sometimes. It's constantly having them in your mind, making them your entire world, your whole thoughts and sitting there, not knowing how to text or, thinking about how to text. Even that is energetically chasing them. You are wanting to control the outcome. But beforehand, you were relaxed and natural and it was just flowing to you and it was feeling great. And then suddenly you're in a fearful state. Your nervous system has kicked in, your attachment style has kicked in, your beliefs, your subconscious beliefs have kicked in, and suddenly it's resistance. You are going to get them pulling away from you. They're going to go further. They're going to, completely, because of that energy. And I know that this is so different to what you've learned. This is so different to what I learned too. I was like, oh my God, well, I just won't, text them afterwards. I let them think I'm really busy and I just forgot about them. And all, all that stuff. It doesn't work, because in your mind, you're like, why haven't they texted me? And you're staring at your phone and you're wanting them to show that they want you. But you are in the state of I'm not wanted. So they cannot want you because you don't believe you're wanted at that point. That is the belief that's playing out. So you're desperately wanting them to be like, oh, I just want to see you. I'm so addicted to you. I just want more and more and more of you, because you want more and more of them, or not them. You want more and more and more of the high of being wanted and chosen. And so you're wanting them to want you. And you're like, why don't they want me? Why do they not want to see me as much as I want to see them? It's not that. It's not that. It's this that's playing out. They do want you if you assume that they want you, but you can't assume that, because your beliefs deep subconsciously, probably from childhood, is I'm not wanted. I'm not prioritized. I'm not chosen. I'm not enough. All of these things. But when you reprogram those things, that's exactly what I did. I reprogrammed all these things. When I realized this is what was happening, and it all made sense to me, it was tough. It was tough to understand it, but it was also like a weight off my shoulder, because I realized, oh my God, this is what keeps happening. And this is in my power to control it. And I went on the journey to change my subconscious beliefs, to change my self-concept, to start assuming a different story, to start acting as a different person, to soothe my nervous system and not be in that fearful state. That's exactly what happened. I was aware of this pattern. So if I was emotionally intimate or physically intimate, I started to be like, okay, the next day, for instance, I'd be like, oh my God, they are so obsessed with me. They want me even more than before. I'm so freaking chosen. Because remember, if you believe you're so freaking chosen, and just on that note, is I had someone DM me and say, but I don't believe I'm chosen. I have no evidence of that. Totally get that. I had absolutely no evidence of that. I was so unchosen and had, terrible childhood trauma where I was completely rejected and abandoned. So I get completely. I didn't believe I was chosen too, but it comes with repetition. So it's okay. You don't have to keep creating from the past, your past examples of love, because that's just created from your subconscious that you don't want. That's created from your trauma that you don't want. So you get to create who you want to be at any moment. So I had to be like, okay, I might have a lot of evidence that say that I'm not chosen, but I'm going to start believing that I am chosen. I'm going to start acting like I am chosen. I'm going to start with the repetition, and then suddenly you become that version of you. So don't worry if there's a part of you that's like, but I'm not chosen. I get it. It's fine. It doesn't control anything. But that is how it's manifesting out. So when I shifted to I am chosen, of course, then it's easy to assume the next day they're going to be like, my God, she's amazing. I want her even more. I love her even more. I'm falling for her even more. It's easy to assume those things, that's what they think. And that's exactly what started to play out. They started to want me way more. Like, they started to show that they started to change, because I wasn't sitting there braced, waiting for them to pull back, waiting for avoidance. I wasn't doing that. I was assuming, no, I am always wanted. I'm always chosen. They want me even more. They are obsessed with me. They cannot stop thinking about me. I started to use it to my advantage to play out the story I wanted to play out. And that's exactly what started to happen. And that is what changes everything. And it's only you that can change that. It's not them. It's not running after them. It's not trying to please them and, make them want you. It's you changing those subconscious beliefs, changing your self-concept and regulating your nervous system that changes this for you. You will stop feeling avoidance in your relationships, full stop. You will stop attracting what appears to be avoidance, full stop. Even in your relationships, right? You will stop that push-pull cycle of, oh, I was vulnerable with them. I told them a need. I told them something that was important to me. And now they're out with me. That used to happen to me too when I was in relationships. I'd be like, oh, I would share something I was emotionally vulnerable, whatever it was, like a need or, whatever it was. And I would start to assume, oh, they've gone a bit quiet. They're not happy with me. They don't want me. They're leaving me or whatever it is. That is from those assumptions that's happening and your fear of being vulnerable. But actually, when you change it, now you can be like, of course not. They love me even more because I was vulnerable with them. Because vulnerability is what creates relationships. It's what creates connection. It is me sitting here right now, telling you this story, telling you my vulnerabilities of things that have happened to me very openly, makes you feel connected to me. You feel seen and heard because I am able to be vulnerable with you right now. Don't get me wrong, I haven't always been able to be there, but that is what builds the connection. Think about the people that you feel connected to, your friends, they're vulnerable with you, or even people, we see people on social media it's easy to be connected to people even on TV now. It's because it's a vulnerability they're speaking from their heart, they're vulnerable, and it makes you closer to them. It makes you want them more. And truthfully, it makes you fucking magnetic. And that is what people fall in love with. When you are able to be your true self and you're able to be vulnerable, no matter what happens, that's when you stop avoiding yourself because you are being true to yourself, and you will stop getting avoidance reflected back to you. You will stop getting avoidance in your relationships, in your situationships, and you will stop attracting avoidance altogether. When I did this, when I realized this, and I stopped being fearful of these things, and I started to love and accept myself, and I started to tell a different story, that's when I met my partner. When I was in that place of like, it's safe for me to be vulnerable. It's wonderful to be vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with this. And I regulated my nervous system so that is what I experienced. I just changed the story. Even if you do feel that little bit of anxiety, you keep persisting in, this is who I am now, this is the story, and it will change and you will see it and you'll be able to have the love you want, instead of the fear stopping these beautiful relationships for you because it kicks in and then they pull away, or they don't want you, or you're not chosen, gets reflected back to you. That is just feedback that you have these subconscious beliefs, and you have all the power to change them. All the power. If this is resonating with you, I really hope that it resonates with you, because if you're here, it probably is. There's probably a part of you that's like, oh my God, like, I think she's onto something. But there's also something that's like, this is a bit scary. But I promise you, if you just trust yourself that it has brought you here to be listening to this, and you allow yourself to see the pattern and trust the journey that I'm taking you on, because I'm sharing very vulnerably these things, and because I want you to see this. And the truth is I could just tell you what everyone else on the internet is telling you, and that might just be what they've managed, their level of experience, and that's fine. Totally fine. I could tell you those things. I could sit here and be like, avoidants are doing this to you. They're bad people. Leave them alone. Just, how dare they? I could sit there doing that, but I promise you that is just going to keep you attracting more avoidance. What I would rather do is take you on the journey that I had to learn. As much as it was self-confronting, it was also the thing that liberated me. It broke me out. It attracted my real love and relationship to me because I was able to hold it finally. And I have been able to create so many things from this place of changing this. And so I'd rather be honest with you and tell you what really will give you the change, because everything you're doing to this point is not working. You can read as many carousels as you like about how to talk to an avoidant, how to stop attracting avoidant, all these things. Don't say this, do this, wait 6 weeks to be intimate. Whatever it is, you can do all of that. And I did it all, but it will not change anything because you have not changed. Your identity is still rooted in your subconscious beliefs. Your attachment identity, your anxious attachment style, the fear of vulnerable is still rooted in that fear of abandonment, and it will have no choice but to play out. So trust yourself that you are here because you are ready to hear what you need to hear to break this cycle. And I am so grateful for you for listening to this, and I am going to continue to share so much with you because it is my mission to help you free yourself. to love yourself, to trust yourself and create that love, that life, because it doesn't just change your relationships, it changes absolutely everything. And it is all in your power because it's all you. It all starts from you. If you want help with this even more, to know how to regulate your nervous system, to change these subconscious beliefs quickly, then I have a brand new masterclass called Stop Attracting Avoidants that I will literally teach you and give you the tools to do this yourself, to reprogram your mindset and your nervous system. This is not sitting here listening to me talk. That is what the podcast is for. It's actually giving you the tools that I use, that I have used to change my life in it, and it's tailored to you because I understand you. I understand your beliefs. I understand it because I have been you. So it's tailored and customized to your experience and what you are trying to do. And it all starts with you. I will leave the link in the bio below if you feel called to expand and do this work more. And just to say, it's not just attracting avoidance in terms of you're single and attracting avoidance. It will work if you are in a relationship and you experience avoidant patterns too, because it's the same thing. It's all coming from you. And once you change you, it will change. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. It has felt so wonderful to share this with you. It feels so good, and I'm so excited to share so much more. And I will see you in the next episode. Please do, as ever, I always love hearing from you. Please reach out to me and let me know any of your takeaways, anything that you want to share. And I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you again soon.